We don't do this for the fame, we out here working non-stop. The fastest growing podcast, we gon' make it to the top. Say word. Hey, we in the game, you know we different. Just tune in, my family Joe, he got the vision.
Yo, y'all know that there's another episode of the world's fastest growing podcast. You know, in Georgia right now. Got my co-host JP on the side. Got a very, very special dope guest in the building. We talk about NBA basketball, royalty family, last name, manager of OTE, my guy Damien Wilkins. My brother, what's the word?
It's good, man. Happy to be here. Appreciate you guys having me.
Appreciate you. I'm gonna go somewhere real fast. I'm from New York, right? Mike James is my cousin.
Okay.
So we grew up, we big Knicks fans. So we had the post on our wall called the Bomb Squad. Gerald Wilkins. Yeah. You know, everybody in New York. My father, they're from the Bronx. They love Gerald Wilkins. This is like this is a big deal. It's a big deal for us because we're from New York. You know what I'm saying?
It's a dynasty.
Yeah, it's like, I gotta ask you though, being part of like this, you're part of one of the most prestige basketball families ever. Like, how do you deal with that on a regular basis? I'm just curious.
It's funny because when you're in it, you don't think about it. Like, I don't ever think about it. Like, sometimes I have moments where I'm like, man, basketball looking good to us. My son, Jaden, who's coming up now, right? Like, I just try to teach him to appreciate the moments that he's in from a basketball perspective. Because it could be here today, gone tomorrow type thing. But honestly, like outside of that, I really don't ever think about it. I just stay in the moment and be wherever my feet are planted for the most part. I know, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of the history. I'm aware of, you know, the accomplishments my dad and uncle and myself too, you know, done. But besides being appreciative of it and grateful for it, I really don't think about it as anything more than just like, man, we got lucky.
Word. Yeah, no, y'all didn't get lucky. Dominique won in '88 too. Let's just be clear. Sorry, Mike. You know what I mean? But y'all like a dynasty, and y'all keep going. You know, like is it the blood? Like, what's going on?
I don't know, man. It's a passion for it, I think. Because you have to have a passion for it to chase it the way we all have. You know, from my uncle to my dad to myself, my son, you know, Nick's son Jake, who's killed. Like they're next. You know, their trajectory is pretty good right now. So it's just an amazing feeling to see them. Like that's I get more out of that than anything. Okay. Like seeing Jaden and seeing Jake come up and like they following in those footsteps. Now it's not guaranteed that they're gonna make it to where we made it to. You know, that's left up a lot to them and luck and the universe, right? And like things gotta align because it's tough.
Do you think it's easier now to make it? It seemed like, because I say that because it just seemed like with social media, you could put these clips together, you know how it is, and it seemed like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know, those clips that's being put together are coming from people of a newer generation. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the newer generation isn't what's in the NBA making decisions right now. Right. It's an older generation still, so they believe more in substance than they do what they see.
Flash.
Yeah, like they believe more in what is the work you're actually doing, because everyone can put together a highlight tape, right? And I think that's one of the problems with grassroots basketball right now is that these guys don't watch basketball, they watch highlights.
They watch highlights.
And because they're watching highlights, they're missing an education of the game. It's a part of the game they're not learning because they're not learning how to actually play the game. They're learning to go viral. Mm-hmm. And you could be on the bad end of that.
Correct.
Right? Like, you don't always have to be on the good end of that. You can be on the bad end of that. And if every game, your basketball education is always about going viral or a moment, like that's short-sightedness.
So in saying that, and with this generation, you work really closely with them at OTE, obviously. Yeah. You have your hands on probably the most compact group of high-level elite young basketball players in the country, which is amazing. So how do you instill that sense of like historical basketball, like real fundamental learning into them, into this generation? These kids are getting paid, they're flying around the country, playing good competition. It's really easy for them to get lost in the sauce. How do you keep them grounded in a way that they still really appreciate the game from a historical perspective?
It's a constant messaging. It's like raising kids, literally. Like you never say, if anyone in the room has kids, I do. I've never said something to them once. It's always
every day.
It's always constant, right? And it's that constant messaging. And you're breaking down bad habits and bad thinking that they came in the building with. Like they came in the building at 16, 17, been getting told a lot of bad things. Like knowledge is just not going to help them at all. Messaging is not going to help them at all for that long. They've already, in their mind, they've been, not brainwashed, so to speak, but kind of like just molded into a lot of bad ways of thinking, habits, whatever. So it's that constant messaging and showing them examples of, what it looks like when you don't work hard, or you don't appreciate the moments, or you do have bad habits, and then show them what it looks like when those things are, conversely done differently. And also, I never show our guys clips of superstars.
So
I never show them clips of LeBron, KD.
So you show role players?
Yeah. Because that's more realistic than what they're being. They're not, like, it ain't one LeBron. Like, we don't have a LeBron in our building. Right? We don't have a Steph in our building. We don't have a Kevin Durant in our building. And we've had 4 lottery picks in the last 3 years. Like, none of those guys are going to be those guys. They're going to be good in their own right, but they're not trending to be those guys. And of the 450 NBA players right now, 430 of them are role players.
Right.
So there's going to be more PJ Tuckers than there are going to be LeBron James. And I try to show them the things that a guy like PJ has done to stay in the league for 14 years. A guy that you never hear about outside of sneakers.
Yeah, his sneaker game is crazy.
And he's in the NBA. He's been in the NBA for 14 years. Like that's something to celebrate, right? Like, and a lot of guys, it might not be 14 years of NBA basketball in our building put together.
Wow.
And you talk about a guy who is notoriously known not even for basketball, that's been in the NBA for 14 years, right? So it's more examples of that than there are of the top tier superstars in the NBA.
That's dope. That's a dope way of teaching and training.
Hell yeah, that's a fact though. Like the NBA right now, it's crazy. You wake up, Luka traded.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Jimmy Butler situation. From you being a veteran in the NBA, what's your take on the NBA right now?
It's always been a business. I just think players are now, in the past, I would say 8-9 years have started to realize how much of a business it is. And I think guys are, LeBron, to his credit, and one of the things, probably the biggest thing I respect about him is that he understood the business of it. He understood his business. And it's like, hey, naturally, you guys are going to get the most out of me and be able to do with me what you want while I'm under contract. So while I'm under contract, I'm going to maximize and get the most out of you too. By using my platform, using my power, using my talent, using my resources to also make me become my own business within your business. And I think a lot of guys have taken a liking to that and starting to develop those teams of people that they're putting around themselves to help them also maximize their business within the NBA's business. Because as you can see, there's no loyalty in it. Like,
it's crazy, right?
Loyalty got Dame Lillard pretty much. Not traded, but loyalty got him staying on a team where he probably shouldn't have stayed as long as he did. And they didn't help him. Jimmy Butler, you can say what you want about how he handled his exit in Miami, but in his defense, they didn't really help him.
Correct.
You know, like there's no other person really. It's probably only two other guys in the NBA right now that you can put on that Miami Heat team and take them as far as he took them.
Stack just said that. Just had Stack on the show. He just said the same thing.
Yeah. So like, you know, outside of how he handled his exit, because you know I don't agree fully with how he fully handled it. However, because there's a professionalism to it as well. But you put him in that situation and he's like, I'm giving you guys my all. You can't get me no help. Like you can't get me just one other person. So like, you know, at the same time, it's a business, but there's also professionalism that comes with handling that business.
So speaking along those lines, we have a new era in college basketball, specifically with NIL. And when you talk about it's a business and there's professionalism, the problem with paying a lot of these kids now at a very young age, 17, 18, 20, whatever, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, is they're lacking that sense of professionalism. They're still getting their professional check, but they don't have the professional acumen and skill set to go along with it. What do you think the future of NIL looks like, as a lot of these veteran coaches are just kind of throwing their hands in the air, tired of it, don't want to deal with the kids don't want to do the work because they feel entitled? How do you think we're going to close that gap as some of these NBA players exit and this is the new generation of NBA? How do we teach that? How do we get that professionalism back in the game?
Well, I think it has to start with parents, agents, and advisors. And I put agents and advisors in air quotes because a lot of these people who are acting as agents and advisors have absolutely no experience in that at all. And they're talking to brands and companies and people who, quite frankly, are looking at them like, man, I can't believe this guy has this person working for them. Like,
It really be like that though?
yeah. So
They be looking at them like, come on, dude, I got your uncle working for you?
yeah, so what it does is they don't ever ask the athlete that. They'll just look at them and be like, oh, well, I already know how many ways that I can get over on it because of what he lacks.
Okay.
So it starts with building better teams around you and putting people around you that have a true vested interest in your business development. And then a lot of times these kids, in their defense, are coming from places where, like, they didn't have anything. So the money they're getting now, they don't even know what it means. They don't even know the value of it because they've never had it before. So they're looking at it, these numbers, and they're looking at this like it's life-changing. You know, we as adults know that $100,000 ain't life-changing. Like that could be, that's a week.
Right.
Or two for some people. Like it's, you know,
Like two cars.
Yeah, like once you
get
caught up on all your bills and you know, like that's gone.
Right.
You know, but these kids are looking at it because they never had it before. Like it's life changing, so they get
Some of
it.
their parents have never had it before.
Their parents have never had it before. So imagine a 16-year-old kid now becoming a breadwinner at 16.
That's happening.
Now you're a parent, and these parents are becoming the friend now. They're no longer parenting. They're being the longer.
Right.
And it's like, now because this 16, 17-year-old kid is making this dollar amount, there's no longer an accountability being held. It's more so like, let's protect him at all costs and let him get away with everything because he's keeping the roof over our head and food in the refrigerator. And in turn, what happens is, as a result of all of that, the athlete itself, the kid, gets complacent. And now they stop working because they think they made it. And they think they made it with, you know, a $250,000 NIL
That's crazy.
deal, when it's like, bro, like that's not even real money. Like that's not, like, you don't understand what real money is. Like $250,000, granted, is a lot of money. I respect that number. But even I know as an adult, that's not real money. Like my life ain't about
Now you got kids.
change. Right. And then the other part to that is, I tell our guys all the time, when it comes to picking a school, a lot of guys are picking a school based on how much NIL they get. So they'll go places and get a bunch of NIL money and then sit on the bench because you just got that school paid you the most. When I tell our guys, forget the money, go for the minutes.
Yeah.
I'll take 50,000 in 40 minutes a game as opposed to 300,000 in 8 minutes a game, because that 40 minutes is going to make me more than quadruple this NIL money. I just need the NIL money to get me through college, to be able to eat just to be able to eat out sometimes, put gas in the car. I mean, some sneakers, but like other than that, what do you need in college? It's college. Your housing is already paid for, books are already paid for, scholarship. I don't need much. These guys are trying to change their entire lives
with that little bit of money.
You gotta relax. And that's why the portal stays so full.
Yeah.
Because they like, oh man, I'm not playing, but I got all this money. Like, yeah, now you gotta stay in college 3 more years, and now your stock is just plummeting. Right? So go get the minutes and take less money. Go get the minutes, because at the end of the day, if I'm playing and I'm playing well, my chance to become a professional athlete just grows higher and higher. And then that's when you step in real money. I'd rather be that than to do the opposite. So,
do you think it's hard for some of these coaches?
A lot of money.
You in the position, it is a lot of money. You in the position of mentoring these young men. Do you think it's harder now to talk to them and they have that respect because they have a little money in their pocket, because they think that they've made it? Do you think that where maybe somebody would have been engaged at a much higher level 10 years ago, you're losing the room quicker?
Well, yeah, for some of these coaches, yeah, and some of these people that they put around them, yeah, that is the case. For me, I speak truth to our guys, every one of them, because number one, I've done it already before, at a higher level than you have, and probably would ever do it. And I'm honest with our guys. I tell them that, bro, I was a high school McDonald's All-American. I was
about to get into that.
The country.
Yeah, I remember
my senior year. So I'm better than you now. And I'll tell these guys that. So it's nothing you can really give. I don't want anything from you. So I have every right to be as honest as I can with them, because someday somebody is. And someone's gonna be honest with you. So it's easier to be honest now and catch them at that grassroots level, to be honest with them so they can understand what they're getting into. But a lot of these guys, yeah, they turn their ears off once they, make a little bit of NIL money, and, people start telling them they're the man and all of that, and then it's okay, well, reality gonna set in. And there's a kid somewhere out here that's probably don't make as much NIL money than you, but he's working harder than you.
Facts.
Still hungry.
Yeah, that's gonna be the guy to take your spot. But you can go ahead and keep that money if you want to, and think that that's what it's about. But I've seen guys just constantly choose the most money over the biggest opportunity.
Short term.
Yeah, and they're not thinking, to your point, long term.
Yo, I got so many questions to ask you, because you've been around the game for so long. I'm gonna talk about you for a minute. I remember you was a McDonald's All-American. I also remember when you went to Georgia. You went to North Carolina State first, and then you went to Georgia.
Yeah.
Why'd you leave? Because I know you had left North Carolina. Did you put your name in the draft?
Yeah.
So what happened?
I went to NC State.
Okay.
I put my name in the draft. I went to the draft combine. I didn't hire an agent.
Okay.
That was back when you can go all the way through and then decide that you want to come back. Had a great combine.
Killed it?
NBA combine. Killed the combine. And on the day before the last day, I sprained my ankle 3 minutes into the camp.
Wow.
A high ankle sprain, which is the worst ankle sprain you can get. And then once I did that, I withdrew, because I'm I wasn't comfortable.
Okay.
I had 3 great days, but I still wasn't comfortable. I needed those last 2 days to solidify it. And then I went back to school. I went back and I told Herb Sendek at the time, who was the coach at NC State, that I was coming back. And he was I called him. And I was hey, I'm coming back to school. And he said, hey, I heard some things that your dad said about me publicly. So we actually don't want you to come back.
Word?
Yeah, we don't welcome you back. And I was oh, for real? Really? He was yeah. And I just hung up.
You didn't even get into it.
That was it. There wasn't much to talk about after that. So I just hung up. I went back home. I sat with my family for 3 days, and then once that news broke, it was all these schools just started calling. Like literally every school in the country was calling, and I went to visit Georgia when Jim Herrick was the coach there. That was my first visit. I had like 8 visits set up, and I went to Georgia and visited campus, and it wasn't an hour into the visit. I looked at my dad. I was like, I'm coming here.
What was it?
It was just the way Jim Herrick talked.
When people think about Georgia, they think about Georgia Tech. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm thinking about Athens. I'm right up in Athens.
It was the way Jim Herrick told me he would use me within his offense. How the team was excited when I came on campus for a visit. They didn't even know me. I came on a visit, and they were excited to have me on campus. Like I was just welcome there. And it felt like a place where I was going to develop and get better and play like my natural positions and be able to play the versatile game that I had. And I looked at my dad, and he looked at me. He was like, "Should want to go on them other visits?" Because he knew too. And I was like, "Nah, you can cancel them. I'm coming here." And like literally the next day, I was like on campus working out with guys.
That's great.
But you had a successful NBA career. We all know that. And you didn't get drafted. What kept you going though? You know what I'm saying? Or just kept you just like...
I had deals on the table to go overseas after the draft.
You didn't want to do that?
Nah, because I always knew that I wanted to play in the NBA. Like, I'm an NBA. Like, I believe in the power of words. And I believe in manifesting. Those are 2 things that I even grew up. Like, I literally tell people all the time that, like, I didn't think basketball was going to be the biggest thing that I was going to do. I didn't think playing in the NBA was going to be the biggest thing that I do. I just thought it was going to be a stepping stone to something. But growing up, basketball was easy for me. Like, I don't know why I felt like it was easy to me. It was just easy. Like, I was like, I did it, and it was fun, but it was easy. Like, I even loved working out. I loved preparing to play. I loved preparing for a season. It was easy. It was scary how easy it was. And I always said, like, I'm gonna play in the NBA. Like, of course I'm gonna play in the NBA. I used to look at it like, yeah, I'm gonna play in the NBA. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. So when I did get drafted, it didn't stop me from thinking that. I was like, these people
just
don't. Yeah, I was like, these people just don't know basketball. Like, they're not the smartest people in the world. And once you grasp that, that level of confidence. I would say confidence and care, and then not caring. Like, there's something that clicks in your mind. Like, you know, it's a like they say, like Will Smith used to say all the time, you have to have a certain type of delusion, like a confident delusion. Yeah, a confident delusion about yourself to get to where you want to be. And maybe that's just what it was for me. I was just delusional. Like, I was like, I know I'm gonna still get there. And then because I saw the guys that was getting drafted.
Bums.
I'm like, I'm better than y'all. Like, so all I need is
that talk.
Yeah, so all I need is somebody to just like me, and I'm gonna be fine. So I didn't get drafted. Agent put 5 deals in front of me overseas. Like, I don't even know why you put these in front. I almost fired him for that.
Wow.
Cause I'm like, I'm not going overseas. I'm an NBA player, bro. He was like, yeah, it's going to. I was like, bro, somebody gonna call. 2 weeks later, Nate McMillan called me.
Shout out to Nate.
And was like, we want you to come to training camp. And I was like, well, how many spots you got? He said, we invited 6 guys, and it's 1 spot. I was like, oh,
I'm coming.
I'll be there. I didn't care who he invited. I didn't care what the spot was. I knew those other guys, those other 5 guys,
weren't as good as you.
Weren't as good as me. I knew they weren't gonna. I didn't even ask who it was. I just knew that they didn't want it as bad as I did.
Who's on that? Who's on your early team?
It was Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis.
Ooh, shout out to Rashard.
Reggie Evans, Flip Murray.
Flip was so nice.
Yeah, Vashon Pinko, Luke Rittenhouse, Nick Collison.
Good squad.
Like Mateen Cleaves.
Shout out to Mateen. I'll be in Detroit in 2 weeks.
So that Mateen, my brother. Yeah. That's like, him and Ray and Rashard really took me under their wings.
That's what's up.
Like Mateen, my dog. Like one of the realest dudes I ever met. Shout out Mateen. But yeah, that was the team. So like Antonio Dames was on the team too.
He was nice too with the Bowling Dream.
Yeah.
So I used to know where everybody went back in the day. I knew what college everybody went to. It ain't like that no more now because it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
different now, man.
So it was just one of them things, man, where I just knew. Like, I knew. And I got the training camp. Everything else is history.
So do you think representation matters in the way that you saw it was so accessible to you with your dad and your uncle that it was like it's such a no-brainer that the people that you had dinner with or spent holidays with or whatever, like they were there, so it was like a very concept to you.
No, and a lot of people don't even know this, but I didn't spend a lot of time talking basketball with my uncle. Ironically, he's the Hall of Famer in our family. Like, I didn't spend a lot of time around him growing up. My dad, I moved in with him when I turned 14 years old. Time before that, I was living with my mom and my granddad most of the time. So I got with my dad, and I remember when I moved in with him, I went to one of his practices with him. And I was like, I want to do what you do.
This was with the Knicks?
No, this is when he was in Cleveland.
Okay.
I was like, I want to do what you do. Like, I want a hoop. Like, I want a Mercedes. I want a house with a garage. I want this. And he was like, well, you got to work for it. I'm like, okay. Like, that's it.
Point me.
Yeah, so we got in the gym together and we started working out. And I think that's how I kind of really, truly developed, that the work ethic and the drive I did from being around my dad, because I saw him, how he grinded in the off season. And I just kind of started that work, and then that work followed more work, and I was just building those blocks throughout my younger days, and it just like everything kind of came together at the right time.
You kind of started like an NBA father-son trend though. It's like everybody's son in the NBA now.
Yes, a lot of them.
Like back then it wasn't like that, remember?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, back then it was like
it's a lot now, man.
Now like everybody's son
it's a lot
is in the
now.
NBA. You like, damn, like.
I saw a poll recently when LeBron, when Bronny got drafted.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about who was the most successful basketball family. Like, we were up there on the list, and that was really cool to see that. Like,
no, you guys all like that's cool, man. It's
like a dynasty.
yeah, it was really cool to see that. I mean, you got the Dunleavys.
Okay.
Now Bronny.
Nah, you was better than Mike though.
Steph and Dale and Seth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheryl and Reggie Miller. Don't forget about
Klay Thompson.
Don't forget about Cheryl Miller now.
Cheryl and Reggie.
Was the Barry boys up there?
They was up there. Clay and
Michael. Okay.
Like, I didn't even realize it was that many until I saw it. I was like, man,
it's a lot
of but Bron and Bronny, I'm happy for him. Like, I know he get a lot of criticism, but like
they stay on little Bron though.
Yeah, I mean because it's Bron.
Man,
it's the hate.
Bronny, man.
It's the hate for Bron that it's the hate for Bron that comes.
I think it's excellent what he's doing. He just hit his first 3 the other day.
I love it. If it was me, my son, I'm doing the same thing.
Correct.
I'm not because
and nepotism. Listen, they've been doing it forever, right? So
my father made a phone call. I don't trip.
I'm doing the same.
My father called people for me all the time.
I'm doing
as you should. Because what are we working so hard for if we can't?
People make you feel bad
because our culture glorifies struggle.
No, they make you feel bad though.
We in our culture we like, nah, if you didn't get out the money, like, why do I have to struggle?
Yeah, why I gotta
why does it have to be difficult?
Yeah,
right? It's not difficult for any other cultures.
Right.
But for us, it gotta be difficult to be respected. And I just don't get that logic. It's like, if I can make my son, my children's lives easier,
position them.
Like, I don't want them to go through the struggles I went through, and they shouldn't want their kids to go through the struggles they went through. Like, why would Bron want his son to struggle?
Right.
Like, the logic behind that, like, kills me, and it's just like so many layers of self-destruction that we have within our culture that we can get into, but I just don't understand that.
That's that's I don't like how they be doing
It's a generational trauma that we carry, for sure.
I don't like that. Let's talk about OTE before we get you up out of here. How did you get into that? What made you go in that direction?
I retired from playing in 2017, and when I stopped playing in 2017, I had 2 offers on the table. One to go work for the Players Association and one to go work for the NBA office, which are 2 different entities. MVP is a union for players. The NBA pretty much works for teams. And I chose to go work for the NBPA because I thought the union was the most important work. I thought helping players was something, again, it aligns with the path that I've always wanted to be on. And that's why I always said, it's going to be something I do that's going to be bigger than the time that I played.
Word.
And to me, that was the thing. Like, that was one of the things. I think there's more on the way, but that was one of the things. So I worked for them for 3 years, and I got a call from someone at Overtime telling me that they're starting this league, OTE. They're gonna be paying players, all this other stuff. It's gonna be based in Atlanta. Like, we're gonna start a league, and I was like, yo, I don't know if I want to be a part of that. You gotta show me more. So conversations kept going, and I was learning more about it. I was learning more about the founder, our CEO, Dan Porter, and what he did with Overtime and how he likes to showcase the youth sports and all of that. And I was like, that's pretty dope. So I got on board, and you know what we've done. It's just been remarkable to be able to reach these guys at the level that we can reach them. And I remember before I even took the job, my boss at the time, his name is Purvis Short, he was working for the Players Association. And told me, he said, yo, if you don't take the job, I'm gonna fire you and make you take it. Because you're gonna help our job by getting to them now, teaching them the things that we taught you and help you learn. If you can teach them now at 16 and 17, then our job is easier, because by the time they get here, if they're fortunate enough, then they would have learned some things that like even we didn't learn. So we don't have to reach down in the cellar to teach them and give them knowledge and retrain them. They're already ahead. And when he put it like that, I was like, that's the mission. That is the mission. To be able to give back, and I always wanted to help and give back to players. Like, that's always been something that I take a lot of pride in. Even in my later years in the NBA, I was signed to 2 teams my last 2 years simply to help in that locker room and help these guys just be professional, which I took great pride in. So it was a no-brainer for me. After that, those conversations I was having, and since I've been here, we're in our 4th year now, we've had a tremendous amount of success. We got
so much growth.
Yeah, I mean,
so
we got 8 teams in our league now. We have 5 teams outside of the Atlanta market. We have 3 teams in Atlanta. We have, like I said, we have 4 lottery picks in the last 3 years. That's more than any school, any institution, anywhere in the country. Yeah, we have, 12 guys playing professional basketball right now. We got 20-some guys right now playing high-level college basketball. We've had 360 scouts, agents, coaches in our building in the past 3 years. Like, I mean, we just keep producing. And we have 5 McDonald's All-Americans in the past 2 years, and even in year 1 and 2, they wouldn't even allow us to play the McDonald's game. Now we have 5 McDonald's All-Americans, and we just keep growing.
I could dig that. We'll put you on the spot before we get up out of here. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. You'll give me your honest answer. Straight up. First question is, Mark Price or John Stockton?
Mark Price.
Jordan or Dominique?
Nick.
Dominique won in '88. You know that. You see '88? You remember the '88 dunk contest?
Yeah.
Me and my cousin Mike was at my grandmother's house. Dominique got robbed that year.
Yeah, he did, but he wasn't gonna win that in Chicago.
He got robbed.
But Mike wouldn't have won that in Atlanta either.
Yeah.
Heard.
So it's fair. It's fair. Mike wouldn't have won that here. There's no way Nick was gonna win that in Chicago.
That's a fact. Next one is Elijah or Patrick Ewing?
Elijah.
Alonzo or Dikembe?
Dikembe.
Rashard Lewis or Kevin Durant?
That's tough. Both of my partners right there. I'm gonna say this. I think Rashad is a pioneer for KD.
Okay.
Being a guy who is a versatile 6'10", 6'11" player, and KD came in and kind of was just like, I got you from here, Rashad. I'm gonna be a better version of you. And I think Rashad would respect that.
What's the last one?
That's a great answer.
Last one. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. You starting a team, who you going with?
If I'm starting a team?
You starting a team, who you going with?
If I'm starting a team, I think I'm going to go with Mike. I'm going with MJ to start it. Yeah, because Mike going to build the culture. I mean, every time I talk about Mike and LeBron and all that, to me, listen, man, it's hard for me to choose which one is actually better. I think LeBron has had a tremendous career. I think his career probably is better than any basketball player ever.
So does that make him better though?
And I think Mike has probably been to me the better player. But LeBron's career has been way better. And it's like, I was reading yesterday, they said on SportsCenter, Patrick Mahomes, if he three-peats and wins this week,
crazy.
He'll be the GOAT. And I'm like, Tom Brady still got 7s.
Yeah.
So this will only be 4. Tom Brady still has 7.
That's crazy.
So to say like if, and then people say, well, look, if LeBron get his 5th, he still won't be better than Jordan. So like, why don't we give grace
in that sport?
In other sports, but in our sport, we determined to pit these two dudes against each other, right? And to me, like, they both are just amazing basketball players who they're at the top of the food chain. And Kobe isn't far. Kobe is right up there with them as well. And I think Kobe doesn't get the respect. He doesn't get the respect he actually deserves, because I think people look at Kobe as someone who's we've seen before. Like when we look at Kobe, we like that's just Mike. That's Mike. Like we've seen that before, right? You've never seen LeBron before. You've never seen a 6'10", 270-pound freight train. Like do all the things that he does. Like there's never been anyone that plays like that. Like, and they try to compare him to Magic, but Magic wasn't as athletic as Bron. Magic couldn't score the way Bron scored. Like scoring ain't even his best thing, and he's the #1 scorer ever. But his passing is what makes him special. His basketball IQ and his longevity, and he gets blamed for that. Like I get blamed for taking care of my body. Like he's been under so much scrutiny since coming out of high school, and to me, like that's what like kind of separates him and makes me almost want to put him above it all, because he hasn't let us down. Like everything, all the hype that he came in with, like he hasn't once been like made us been like, damn, like he let us down. He wasn't who we thought he was. Like sure, he had a bad series, he had a bad game, he didn't win. Like, how hard it is to get to the finals 9 times.
He went like 9 straight games.
Yeah, like you know how difficult that is. Like I think people just take all that for granted. And like when he's gone is when he's gonna be appreciated the most. When he leaves and retires, that's when everyone will be like, look back and be like, damn, like I really took Bron for granted. His greatness. Like I watched him last night, like 40 years old. Like it's going 41. I mean, like 17. Like you can't.
It's crazy.
You can't quantify that, man. Like this dude is like, Mike put fear in people. Like Mike was Mike. Like he was the pioneer. Like of it all. He started. He gave Bron
foundation.
Yeah, the foundation. Like, look, you gonna follow me now? Follow me. And he's done that. He's like, I got you. Like, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna do this more ways than you even did it. I'm gonna lead the league in assists and rebounds. I'm all of that. Mike didn't do all that.
Nah, we know.
So like, it's like, I love Mike to death. I got a tremendous amount of respect for MJ. Like I still think like he's my GOAT. Like he is. Bron. If Mike the GOAT, Bron right was a lamb. Like Bron is right there. Like that dude, man. Like the things that he's able to do, the things that he has done, and the way he's shaped the league, the empowerment he's given players. Just he's won everywhere he's gone. Like,
definitely,
bro. This dude is special, man. Like,
he is.
And he has not embarrassed himself. Like of all the things, you think about all the trouble that he could have gotten into. 18 years old, from the projects, I write you $100 million check, and you didn't from Nike, and you ain't blow that. You didn't go out and do something crazy to embarrass not only our culture, but like your own self, family. Like not once has he publicly embarrassed us.
Nah, he's a good guy.
Like this dude, man. I don't know if I could have done that.
I definitely would have messed up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I could have done that. Like, you hand those keys to any other 18-year-old kid, they gonna blow that. Like, it's gonna be something that happens. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I grew up in Atlanta. So, like, you can't give me $100 million in Atlanta, bro. Like
you can't give me 20,000.
Like, in the A? Come on, man. Like, that dude, you gotta, like, there's gotta be some type of, like, props given. Just
much respect to LeBron, like, for real.
Do you think, real quick, I know we gotta wrap up soon, but do you think he's waiting to bring Bryce up before he takes his bow out?
I don't know. I mean, shoot, Luka just added 2 more years to his career.
Right?
That's what a lot of people ain't even realizing.
Calculating.
Like, without Luka, he'd probably be done after next year.
Right.
But Luka just basically said, I got it. And you chill.
Right.
You just stay over there in that corner.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you stay over there in that corner. I got you. Like, let me control this now. Because it's Luka's team now. Like, it's Luka's team. That's what they made that trade for. Now it's because they know LeBron on his way out. But they had to get somebody in there who is box office. And whatever you want to say about Luka, he is
I love that kid.
office.
I'm crazy about him.
Yeah, like they got 2 guys on their team that average 27, 7, and 7. All he gonna do is be like, hey, Bron, post up, bro. I got the ball from here. Like, if he wanted to play another 2 years, he could now. Like, because he has him.
Right.
They're gonna go out this summer and make some more roster moves. Like, but you know, you look at that deal, like you have to look at it from a true basketball lens, like not just a fan of the Lakers lens or a fan of Dallas lens. Like, you gotta look at it from a basketball and a business lens. That move added a year or 2 on Bron's career if he wants it. So to your question, will Bryce be ready by then? Like,
I think out of Bryce and Bronny, personally, Bryce is the one.
I think Bryce will be better too.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know yet. You know,
I feel like
Bryce is trending in that direction.
His size, I think, separates him.
Yeah.
Like, he's a legit 6'5".
Yeah.
Like, legit. Now, all he got to do is just learn how to play the game. But like,
handles a little tighter.
Yeah, but like, look who he gets around every day.
Yeah.
I had 2 NBA players and a legend literally in my house. So like, he's gonna learn those things. You know, I don't know how many years he does in Arizona, but let's just say he does 1. You know, depending on how the draft looks. Can you say that like you wouldn't draft him coming out?
That's valid. That's super valid. That's what it is. D. Wilkins, man, appreciate you checking in with us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Much love. ATL on fire, you in the building, send your podcast. Get out of here.
We don't do this for the fame, we out here working non-stop. The fastest growing podcast, we gon' make it to the top. Say word. We in the game, you know we different. Just tune in, my family Joe, he got the vision.